look, let's give, for the people that don't know what's going on, I'm going to give you the breakdown. Elon Musk has offered to buy Twitter to take it private. This is from the New York Times article. Elon Musk offers to buy Twitter. Live updates. His takeover bid at $54.20 a share comes just weeks after he became the company's largest shareholder. Here's what you need to know. Twitter's stock price suggests that the markets aren't convinced by Musk's bid. I don't think I agree with that. The New York Times is probably trying to spin it. So, Elon Musk has launched a takeover bid for Twitter, offering to buy it for $54.20 a share, just weeks after he became the social media company's largest shareholder. Mr. Musk said that this was his best and final offer, representing a 54% premium over the day before he began investing in the company in late January. In the filing, Mr. Musk said, "I don't have confidence in management," and that he couldn't make the changes he wanted in the public market. So at that point, I mean, that's a pretty damning comment from somebody who's kind of just arrived in the house, hasn't even taken their shoes off, and he's sort of curled a big fat one out in the middle of the carpet in front of everybody.
I don't like what you're making for dinner. Let me take over.
Yeah,
We're
precisely.
going to have a proper dinner this way. Otherwise, I'm leaving.
I didn't know, because he's actually posted the tweet that's gone super viral. I bet that this is the most accessed SEC document of all time.
All time.
By far. So he's just tweeted saying, "I made an offer," linking to an SEC filing, which presumably, does that have to be made public? Is that the sort of... Right, okay. So this was out there in any case, and rather than him just letting somebody find this, he's decided to get out ahead of it. But it's got some exhibits, and I don't know how common it is for this sort of stuff to be shown there. In it, he says, this is him to Brett Taylor, chairman of the board. "I invested in Twitter as I believe in its potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe, and I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy. However, since making my investment, I now realize the company will neither thrive nor serve this societal imperative in its current form. Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company. As a result, I'm offering to buy 100% of Twitter for $54.20 per share in cash, a 54% premium. My offer is my best and final, and if it is not accepted, I would need to reconsider my position as shareholder. Twitter has extraordinary potential. I will unlock it." So presumably, you might be able to explain this better, but presumably what he's doing here is he's saying, all of the shareholders in Twitter, I'm going to offer you a 54% premium on when I started, a 38% premium on the day before. However, if you don't do that, not only are you going to look like you've been cooked to your own shareholders, but I'm going to I'm going to dump 10% of my stock back into the market.
All of my ownership, and then the stock will tank down again to wherever it was before the Elon Musk thing in the first place. And so it is, and by the way, you'll note that the 5420 number includes the number 420, which he also did whenever he said he was going to bring Tesla private at $420, like maybe a couple of years ago, back when it was worth much less than that. So he said, "I've got a private buyer for Tesla at $420 a share." Always this number 420, right?
Why is that?
And why the number 420?
He's not memeing his way through.
I mean, are you sure? Because...
Are you kidding? Are you trying to suggest that Elon Musk is using 420 like Blaze Up Day? Here's what I'm suggesting. Actually, here's genuinely what I'm suggesting. I'm actually not sure that he's not doing that, but the reason that I think that this is so interesting is that so much of what you do as a founder, as a CEO, as all of these things, really in the public sphere, so much of what you do is about telling a story and people believing in you. And honestly, if I can be super clear, being early on everything. When I bought Tesla stock really, really long time ago, and since it's like the one thing I wish I had put like all of my money into, but didn't. But what happens is you're looking at a company that effectively was insolvent and wasn't going to succeed unless he was able to get people to believe. And I'll tell you what he's really good at is getting people to believe in something, and then that allows kind of like that story to ride out and become dominant. But and he's good at that, like over and over and over again. Surely, if he's about to take this company private, his ability to make people believe from a value creation perspective now becomes irrelevant. People don't need to believe in Twitter as a platform. They already need it. The difference with him with Tesla is that his ability to garner belief actually then pays out dividends in terms of the share price.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's a different story. The main thing that he's going to, I mean, let's assume this is even real, right? Versus like it being some giant colossal joke. And he's going to be sued by the SEC again, which he was when he did the 420 thing in the first place. I think that there's a huge percentage of employees that are going to be like, I don't want to work for this company anymore. And so you could see how it like could completely tank the number of people that want to work at that company. But it's true that Twitter has a gigantic amount of commons value that is in fact not properly unlocked. Like, and I don't know why. It's like people, you know what Mark Zuckerberg used to call Twitter way back in the day when both companies were private. He called it a clown car that drove into a gold mine, a company filled with schmucks that nobody knew what they were doing to barely keep it going. And it drove into one of the most valuable opportunities in the universe.
That's hilarious. So there's a bit at the bottom. I don't know what this is. It looks like maybe a WhatsApp message or something. So this is in the SEC filing, right? sec.gov/archives, blah, 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 blah. And this must be Musk. As I indicated this weekend, I believe that the company should be private to go through the changes that need to be made. So presumably he's teed this up at least over the weekend. After the past several days of thinking this over, I've decided I want to acquire the company and take it private. I'm going to send you an offer letter tonight. It will be public in the morning. Are you available to chat? And then there's a voice script. He says, best and final. A, I am not playing the back and forth game. B, I have moved straight to the end. C, it's a high share price and your shareholders will love it. D, if the deal doesn't work, given that I don't have confidence in management, nor do I believe that I can drive the necessary change in the public market, I would need to reconsider my position as shareholder. This is not a threat. It's simply not a good investment without the changes that need to be made. And those changes won't happen without taking the company private. Finally, my advisors and my team are available after you get the letter to answer any questions. There will be more detail in our public filings. After you receive the letter and review the public filings, your team can call my family office with any questions. Can you imagine for a second that you are whoever it is that's received this particular letter at Twitter last night? You know, it's a quiet, easy Wednesday in the middle of April, and out of nowhere, like WhatsApp message from Elon Musk and a voice note, and you go, all right, hold
on a second.
Yeah, I wonder what this is. Oh, Elon Musk.
I know it's date night, baby. I gotta look at this.
Yeah, just wait there. Elon Musk's offering $43 billion to take my company private.
Like I said, I own like not a lot of Twitter shares, like not, I don't know, 10K worth or some number, you know, and like I just want to hold on to them just as a relic. I want to put them on my wall. You know, there's like I never got a certificate. I don't think you get certificates anymore, but I want to put them on my wall. You're like, wow. I knew about this when, you know. Okay,
so he said, what happens next in Musk's Twitter takeover offer? This is from the New York Times. Elon Musk offered $43 billion. Here is what will or could happen next. The board reviews the offer. The board will work with its advisors at Goldman Sachs to review Mr. Musk's offer. They will have to consider, amongst other things, whether the deal fairly values the company and whether Mr. Musk has the financing to cobble together a deal. The board cannot simply decide it does not like Mr. Musk as a suitor, but they can come up with reasons why they don't like the bid. Like, for example, his ability to fund it, said Stephen Davidoff Solomon, a professor at the School of Law, blah, blah, blah. The board announces its decision. The board will likely take up to a few days to review the offer. If it rejects the offer, it can go in one of several ways. It can put in a defense mechanism known as a poison pill. What's that?
Okay, so the details of the poison pill is, the concept of it is if you consume the poison pill, it will kill you. And so if I understand correctly, it is there's a huge amount of these in Twitter's bylaws, maybe. And by the way, you know, I'm not super familiar with it, but in Twitter's bylaws there's a ton of poison pill provisions that effectively said if A happens, if B happens, if C happens, this I guess software or this public good, so to speak, is protected. And so it's possible and I don't remember what the poison pill provisions are, but they exist in a number of different companies' bylaws. And at Twitter, my understanding is there's a huge amount of poison pill provision. There's more than in most tech companies because they're trying to protect it.
It's wild that that's what it's called, a poison pill. It says the poison pill limits the ability of Mr. Musk and every other shareholder to buy up Twitter shares in the open market. Once it does, it could still decide to sell itself, but without the pressure of Mr. Musk, blah, blah, blah. There are reasons Twitter may opt to not do the poison pill, which, again, I can't believe that that's even a term. May be wary of potential criticism that a poison pill is deflecting the concerns of a highly vocal member of its community. Likewise, Mr. Musk, whose reported stake, incentive, blah, blah, blah. The board potentially looks for a white knight. Twitter has been looking for a sale ever since it went public, says Howard Birkenbilt, who leads the capital markets firm at blah, blah. Mr. Musk's latest activity most likely heightened interest in Twitter's amenability to a deal. Some private equity firms may be put off by Twitter's limited cash flow, but a number of technology companies may take a look, given heightened interest in the social media giant's power and reach. Looks like the stock price it's bumped about 10% in the pre-market and then pulled back a little bit today. It's 15% higher than when Musk first revealed it, but is still down from a $77 high February 2021.
Keep in mind, like Snapchat went public. Sorry, that my timeline's a little weird, but let's say 6 years ago or something like that, and has I believe it's even like less users, but is more profitable and is trading better. And by the way, like, I hate Snapchat and I hate Evan Spiegel and all the people that are associated with Snapchat, just on principle. But it's somehow, despite the fact that it went public 5 years ago versus Twitter that went public over a much longer time frame, like Twitter still cannot get its act together. I don't know if you personally believe that this is. I have always thought of this company, and by the way, there's a lot of people on Twitter's board that probably align with this Elon Musk philosophy of the founder or someone with a great deal of value, a great deal of vision can take it over and make it better. Brett Stevens, who's the co-CEO of Salesforce, I think that's his name. Drew Houston, who's the founder of Dropbox. I forget the founder of DoorDash's name, but another dude who's on the board of Twitter. And so, along with others, Jack Dorsey, the current CEO of Twitter. So that's like a bunch of people probably aligned in the direction of like, okay, but what's he going to do? And there's another that say, well, maybe this is good, and we've been looking to do this. So who knows? I mean, the 21st century is weirder than any of us could possibly imagine. I think we could agree on that.
Twitter's board met on Wednesday, according to a person familiar with the situation who wasn't authorized to speak publicly, hours after Elon Musk's offer to buy the company. Mr. Musk turned down a seat on the board over the weekend, leaving board members who had recently welcomed him into their ranks to weigh a proposal in which Mr. Musk said he has no confidence in their management of the company. But what I found out was that the reason he turned down a seat on the board is because he couldn't have put in a bid to take over the company at 100% if he was on the board. So that was one of the reasons that, Twitter a while ago. And then think about, the other game that may have been played here when Elon first purchased his 9% stake and then Twitter goes, oh shit, Elon's probably got the wealth that he might try to take us over. Why don't we offer him a seat on the board? Because if we offer him a seat on the board, he can't take us over. So they're playing the game because originally everyone was like, Elon's a silent partner. He's not contributing in the way that everybody wanted him to, which really isn't. No one gives a shit about what he does financially with Twitter. Everyone's bothered about what he does operationally, culturally, in terms of the branding and its policies and stuff like that. And, yeah, man, I was talking to Dan from Drinking Bros about this literally a couple of minutes ago. I was like, it's so wild and kind of cool that we have somebody on the planet who has the resources and the motivation to do the things that everybody else daydreams about doing. Everybody in tech has an idea about what they would do to fix Twitter, which is the platform of tech in any case.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that, yeah. And it also, like founders are younger than ever with more power than ever, right? Like, keep in mind that ascent is more and more rapid than it ever has been, the acceleration. And so for me, the person who really exemplifies this, or the pair that exemplify this the most, is Patrick and John Collison, who run and founded Stripe it must be 10 years ago or something. and it's since become a $100 billion company, and it's still private. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to try and solve carbon capture, which is like another obviously really meaningful problem for the Earth. And so you have these people that still have still have a certain amount of optimism, and still have a certain amount of like feeling like they can still contribute and they can still do something. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and before that, it may be different to you, but like it felt like all the people who had this power were old and cynical, and were just trying to do like hold on to their cash and get it to become more valuable and nothing else.
Well, how old is Elon Musk age?
Literally
50 years old, bro. So I mean, yeah. Elon's not a young guy. You know, he's like slap bang in the middle of what you would expect from somebody that's doing this sort of stuff. The difference is that he has quite a young spirit with him. Yeah. You know, he's got that very sort of contrarian, heterodox, fuck you to the man, dog coin to the moon thing. And I'm in for this. So, you know, moving beyond what's going on here, there's some stuff about Salesforce tried to purchase Twitter and the sale went through, and some other bits. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody can go and read the New York Times article if they want to go and find out a little bit more about this. But I think, actually, first question, is this what's considered a hostile takeover?
That's a great question. I think the answer is yes. What a hostile takeover is, strictly like legally speaking, I'm not clear on, but the understanding is that it is a hostile takeover in the sense that it is being done without the permission of anyone else that's involved, and it's effectively like backing all the shareholders and the board maybe into a corner.
Interesting. So I'm looking at some of the biggest replies, some of the highest replies here. A man who's willing to spend $41 million for free speech is a good man that I can admire. Someone replying said, if you're paying billions, you're buying speech. It's not free. I don't know. I mean, what is it? The thing that I don't get is people's aversion to Elon Musk overall.
They have a very strong one. It's interesting because like people often make those comparisons with Jeff Bezos too. They're like, oh, like how rich is he really? And they show like an ant and then a skyscraper, and they're like, this is you, and this is how rich he is. And they show these crazy comparisons of wealth accumulation that are admittedly like out of proportion with the past because of tech. And again, that acceleration that was able to happen, it happens faster than ever. But then there's this automatic assumption that all they're trying to do is accumulate, like money is no longer valuable to these people. And so then you could think, well, what's the next thing? Oh, is it power? That seems simplistic to me. It really feels like they want to make the world, you know, maybe the languages, neutral languages, like in their image. And that could be some good and some bad. But I don't know, like space travel feels pretty good to me, you know, and electric cars feel pretty good to me. Like, admittedly, one of the stories of Elon Musk is I think he made some money from his previous company, Zip something, before PayPal or whatever, and immediately went out and bought a $1 million McLaren car and crashed it on his first ride out. So we're not talking about a normal person, but we're still talking about somebody that has more vision than the average Twitter shareholder.
I would say more vision, but the thing that's interesting is all of the like New World Order accusations that get thrown at Bill Gates. Bill Gates doesn't have as much wealth as Elon Musk, but for some reason, more people seem to be happy with Elon, at least from, I guess, like the center right side of the fence, certainly seem to be a little bit more happy with him because he's kind of cool and young and hip and does like meme coin stuff. But I just don't know. I don't know what people's problem with Elon is overall. I don't think he's said anything particularly egregious, you know. I don't think he's got like a secret alt-right past. I might be wrong.
Right.
Here.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I don't think that's the case either. But there is this thing that happens, and the general attitude in tech, right? And it's true everywhere. Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk, like Jeff Bezos is more neutral. And by the way, people did feel this way about Bill Gates in the 90s during the antitrust lawsuits that were going on with the government. But it's sort of receded since then. And Bill Gates became this dude that is almost like John Rockefeller Sr. John Rockefeller Sr., his post-oil monopoly thing that he did is he went out and he spent a gigantic amount of money donating it towards mostly medical causes. And his father was a quack doctor. And so he was like, oh, okay, well, medicine needs to be evolved and all these other things, essentially what Bill Gates has done. But these people are too young for that, and they still have energy, and they're like, I can run another company. Because when you run one company, I haven't run a company as big as that, but I've raised a lot of money, and I've built companies that are meaningful size for startups. You're still like, I think I could do it again. I think I could make it better and easier this time. So I bet he still has a lot of that energy in him.
There's a bunch of replies from Gab. Are you familiar with Gab? Do you know what that is?
I am familiar with the website Gab.
Yeah, okay. So there's one set of replies. Counteroffer. Sell your 9% Twitter stock, invest $2 billion in Gab, join Gab's board, and let's take them down. You have to consider that bringing free speech to Twitter isn't as simple as buying it. Apple and Google do not allow free speech. So if you stop the censorship, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Dude, this is the equivalent of the guys on Pornhub that comment things saying, if I got my hands on her,
if only I was in that room.
Yeah, dude, she wouldn't know what began. And or the people that comment on, glamour models' Instagram pages saying, "Looking so hot, sweetie." You go, look, dude, Elon's not bothered about buying Gab. He's.
But this is the thing: is anything off the table at this point? But that's the part that really scares the shit out of me.
Homeboy's playing in a $50 billion hostile takeover of the largest town square platform in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Gab as a free speech alternative might be fun or whatever, but it just seems to me like a really poor move. I think Rumble did the same thing when Rogan got popped by Spotify about, is he going to take episodes down and doing apologies and things like that, and Rumble were like, oh, we'll offer you $100 million to go from Spotify to us. And you think, I understand that when you're sat in a boardroom that it kind of sounds cool, but when you're everybody else watching on Twitter, you sound like the guy on Pornhub saying that you should come over to my casting couch as opposed to the one that you're on right now.
Yeah, and because those platforms, like, nothing's gonna become Spotify. Like, no matter how much that's been won. And so that's the same thing with Twitter. Actually, the common square, it's just Twitter. Maybe I don't know about forever, but keep in mind, like, it is the one place where you can go say some shit. Well, maybe not everything anymore. I don't even know about that, but like, where you basically go say some shit, no matter how stupid or offensive it may become. And it is public, which by default on Snapchat, because we talked about other social channels before, it is not. On Facebook, it is not. On Medium, that's behind paywalls now, so you're not even there. On Clubhouse, I don't know that even is relevant or.
I mean, Instagram's got the equivalent amount of access, but you are right. I understand. I think that overall, dude, I'm so down for this. I'm down for everything. Just burn it all to the ground, right? And let's start again. Let's go Mad Max, total scorched earth policy. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to be interested to see how this. And if nothing else, dude, the thing that I've taken away so far is it's cool to have somebody that has the resources and the motivation to actually go after this sort of stuff. I enjoy the fact that we live in a world where someone at least can offer this out. It's on Twitter whether or not they want to decide to take this thing. Are there concerns about centralizing control and ownership underneath one person who, let's say that Elon Musk gets a brain tumor in 4 years' time and decides to say that, make some ridiculous policies on Twitter and that completely destroy the platform. You go, okay, maybe that's not good. But you also have centralized control currently at the moment with someone who's going through obvious dementia that's got the nuclear football under his arm. So, the centralized control argument, I'm not convinced really, really works. But I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad that he's there. What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.